just finished our discussion about the classic Ukrainian tale, The Family That Pulls the Turnip Out of the Ground, and we learned that the moral of the story is the importance of teamwork. So we are going to continue our discussion of morals of stories and different lessons that we can learn using some different stories. So we are going to use Aesop's Fables. Has anyone heard of Aesop's Fables? His most famous fable or story is The Tortoise and the Hare. So this is about the hare that challenges the tortoise to a running race because the hare is so confident that he can win and because the tortoise is so slow. But in the end, the tortoise ends up winning because the hare was overconfident. So do you know this story? Yes, it's one of his most famous. Aesop was a slave back in ancient Greek times, and he wrote these fables or stories to teach people different lessons. So he mostly used animals, sometimes humans, to illustrate different life lessons in fun ways. So we're going to read some more of his stories today. We're going to read 4 of his stories. So what we need to do is we have 20 people and we need groups of 5 people in each group. So we need 4 groups. So I counted you off earlier. If you are a number 1, please come to the left side of the classroom. Number 2, please go to the back. Number 3, please come to the front. Right side of the classroom. Okay? Great. So you're all going to be given a different fable. And you're going to read this fable together as a group. Except each person in your group is going to have a different task. So, excuse me. The first task is going to be the reader. So it's exactly how it sounds. The reader reads the story out loud to the rest of the group, but slowly, okay? So the first task, the reader. The second task is the translator. So this person translates this story into Ukrainian, but you don't write it down, you just translate it out loud. And the rest of the group, please help them translate if there is an unknown word or an unknown grammar tense, okay? So the second task is the person to verbally translate the story, sentence by sentence. So number 3 is the word wizard. So this person will write down any unknown words and also translate them, but only the unknown words. So try and find at least 4 new words, and you can translate them using your online dictionary or the dictionaries we have in class. So that is the word wizard. Translate 4 new words. The 4th job is the summarizer. So your job is to sit and listen to the story throughout while everyone else is reading it out, while the reader is reading it out loud. And your job is to summarize the story. So what is summarize? Do you remember we've done this before? Yeah, to condense the story into a few sentences. The whole story in maybe 2 or 3 sentences. And it's important as a summarizer to include the moral of the story in your summary because that is what these stories are about. So you need to identify the moral of the story or the lesson and include it in your summary. And then finally, number 5, the 5th job is the predictor. So the predictor is going to listen, and every 3 or 4 sentences, you will write down a prediction of what you think the moral of the story is going to be and what is going to happen next. So by the end of the story, you should have about 5 predictions, okay? So you write, and then we'll see how close you were at the end, and if you get closer and closer, okay? So we have the reader, the translator, the word wizard, the summarizer, and the predictor. So Now you have about 10 minutes to read your story and complete your job, all right, and complete your task. And then you will have some time to discuss it all together, all right? And then you will present the moral of each story, your brief summary, okay? All right, so you have about 10 minutes. Okay, great. So now that we have read all 4 stories and presented the different moral of each story, it is your chance now to work independently with these stories. So your task is going to be to write your own story, but from the perspective of one of the main characters in your fable. So what I mean by that is, for example, if you read The Tortoise and the Hare and you wanted to write from the perspective of the hare, you would write about how the hare felt and reacted to all of the different situations. So the stories are written mostly in third person. So we're looking onto what is happening, onto both of the main characters. But now you are going to write it as one of the characters. Okay? So you all know that you shouldn't just start writing right away. You need to plan your essays. So we're going to use the application on your phone, Simple Minds, that you've downloaded for previous tasks. But let's review what Simple Minds is. So Simple Minds is your chance to create a word web or a mind map. In the middle, you open up the app and it just gives you a blank word web. In the middle is where you will put the title of your work. So in this case, it'll be your fable. So let's continue with The Tortoise and the Hare. So it'll be The Tortoise and the Hare from the hare's perspective. And then you have your subwebs or your smaller topics, right, around the side, on your webs. So let's say, for example, one of the webs could be feelings throughout the story. So what are some feelings that you think the hare might have at the beginning of the story? Yeah, feeling confident, feeling good about himself, right? And then in the middle, he's relaxed, he's just hanging out. And then by the end, disappointed, sad, embarrassed. Good. What are some other subtopics you can have, or smaller webs that you can have? Yeah, reactions, thoughts. So make sure to include how they're feeling and also what's going on. So internally and externally, what's happening. And the great thing about Simple Minds is you can connect different websites or pictures that you find online. So you're going to need to write this essay for your homework, right? So you'll take your phone home and you'll use your Simple Minds word web to write your essay at home. And if you find in class websites that you would like to go back to, or if you need to connect different translations, you can do that. If you find any pictures that you find inspiring, you can also put those in your word web, okay? So you are going to have about 15 minutes to work on your word web. After that, we should have about 10 minutes left of class. And then you will get together with your group again, and you will share your mind map with each other, and then you can give each other advice, constructive criticism or compliments, what you prefer. So right now, you're going to work on your word web. You have 15 minutes. Then you're going to get back together with your original group, and you are going to share your mind maps, okay? And then your homework will be to write the first draft of your story from the character's perspective that you chose. And then the next class, we will work further with those essays. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me know. And you have 15 minutes, so